So Desiigner is spitting. Is New York hip hop coming back?
DIYers, when was the last time you heard the name Desiigner? Desiigner obviously made a huge name for himself when he released a song called Panda. Another song of mine that was a favorite of his was Outlet. Timmy Turner was a standout moment in a XXL freestyle, but we didn't hear from him for many of years. Some people attributed that to him sounding very similar to rappers like Future and him just having overall issues with his deal with good music and all of that. And then this particular situation that happened. And I'm only bringing this up not to embarrass, but to just walk you down a timeline where he actually did the thing he said he would do. The past few months, I have not been okay, and I've been struggling to come to terms with what is going on. While overseas for a concert I performed at, I had to be admitted to a hospital. I was not thinking clearly. They gave me meds, and I had to hop on a plane home. I am ashamed of my actions that happened on a plane. I landed back to the States, and I am admitting myself in a facility to help me. I will be canceling all of my shows and any obligations until further notice. Mental health is real, guys. Please pray for me. If you're not feeling like yourself, please get help. That was a message he said, and I think I only saw him pop up a few times with new music, but I don't know. It seemed like he might have absolutely followed through. I am not one to cancel people. I'm always curious to see if your comeback can be as strong as your downfall moments. I heard his record the other day, and this is really interesting because it seems like he is going in a very different direction. This is a song called Talking to Jesus. Listen to it. This is a very different sound than you've heard from a Desiigner before.
Architect.
Come on. King Ravenburner said he sounds better. He sounds healthy. And I know that's not something that often gets celebrated. He sounds healthy. And I don't want to attribute these things to he was young, and there's no excuse for excuses that he's not making. But damn it, it is so beautiful to see people be able to turn situations like that around, because a lot of people would just be like, well, damn it, they ain't gonna ever believe me if I do turn it around. Sounds like he's in a much more stable place. I'm saying. Right.
What up, where's your boy Charles Brown back again talking facts. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit notification bell, keep sending those Cashaps to CLBMG. Join the membership gang. Listen, I hit my group chat up to let them know that I had just heard Desiigner on, I believe it was Twitter. There was a clip on Twitter, on X, right, of Desiigner spitting. I'm talking like old school New York, 1997, like dead ass, like on some Big L type. Like, listen, I did not know Desiigner was capable of this. What I'm thinking is Desiigner had a reset. You know how you do a computer where you format the disk back to the original settings. I think what happened in New York, a lot of guys got out of the normal flow of things, chasing bags. Let's just be honest. We got to a point where New York itself was complaining about it didn't even have a sound. I used to ride through New York back in the 90s, and you knew you were in New York. Once I would get past Delaware, hit the middle of Jersey, and I would start getting those signals from New York radio stations, and you knew you were in New York, gang. I used to hear stuff. Well, first of all, I was riding up and down the East Coast for this, that, and the third, and I would get I would hit the certain part of the turnpike that you could start getting those signals different times of the day and night. It would be Power 105 or Hot 97 or even the college station. I think Stretching Bobito, all kind of nonsense. I would just catch a vibe. When you hit New York, it doesn't matter if it was the mainstream station or the college, whatever. It was New York. The vibe was different. They weren't playing everything that was on the radio. Some stuff, yeah, but for the most part, you were hearing exclusive. You were hearing that New York flavor, and they was rapping, gang. At some point, I want to say, I'm just going to do a guesstimate. Around that time where the South started to get that buzz, where we started to have to take the South serious. Remember those Source magazines started putting those big-ass masterpiece spreads in the middle, no limit spreads from one side to the other. He'd take up both pages, and it would be 25 different releases from the same record label. Right around that time when we started to have to take Silk the Shocker and No Limit and all these different people and Cash Money, they started to buy all these magazine advertisements, and they started to make their own clothing lines and this, that, and the third. New York had to really compete. For a time, it was good because the magazines were for the most part, based out of New York. So all New Yorkers had to do was run up in those magazines and do a little, you know what I'm saying, Hollywood shuffle, and they would get what they want. But it started to change where Master P and them started throwing around a lot of shmoney too. And the street started asking for that bout it, and this, that, and the third. So you had to take these guys seriously, let alone the people from the South, right? I'm talking about Scarface and Ghetto Boys and things of that nature. They started to take them guys really serious, and then, God forbid, when Atlanta came along, it started to be a real problem. And what New York started to do, they were flailing, gang. They started to get New York had an attitude of superiority. All right, they didn't want to let you in. So a lot of times you had to go around New York. And what rappers started to do was go around New York. They started to become nationwide because the South had to help each other up. New York had a crabs in a barrel, crabs in a bucket. That old New York mentality, right? Remember on Demolition Man when he said he had to pick who he could unthaw, right? Because everybody was frozen, all his partners was frozen, all the criminals were frozen, right? So Wesley Snipes was in Demolition Man. He said, "Yeah, I need you to unfreeze everybody on this list, but none of them niggas from New York. They too uptight, right? New York always been uptight. It's that New York, they didn't want to acknowledge other artists. Eazy-E said he couldn't get no play in New York. A lot of rappers couldn't get no play in New York. It's just a fact, right? New York was very, very stubborn. Well, hip-hop started moving on without New York. Hip-hop started to be like, man, y'all okay, and we hear that, and we respect what you guys did, but at some point in time, you got to respect what we doing, gang. South got something to say. Remember that? I'm going to be honest. That was a turning point. I remember they low-key try to play with Andre. They try to play with Big Boy Outkast. They try to boo him low-key. Let's just be honest. Tried to boo him when they won. Okay, when they won at the Source Awards, and I'm not sure where those Source Awards were even at. I think they were in New York. I'm not sure. But they try to boo. They try to boo the South at them Source Awards, and that was when the tide started turning. New York was the last ones to know that the rest of the industry moved on. Stuff started to gravitate to LA and Atlanta, and New York was just where people came to get a bag, and they moved on with their life. So the New York rappers caught on late that, yeah, your style kind of getting a little, we don't really need to bow down to you guys no more. Big Daddy Kane was cool, but we don't need that smooth operating. We don't need that Black Valentine ass nigga. So they started to move on. And what happened was New Yorkers took years to catch up because they were still trying to hold to these standards, right? Motherfuckers still running around like doing Onyx and shit, you know what I'm saying, with big boots and baggy pants. So the game had moved on. New York at that point started to have to play a lot of other regions in their daily mixdowns. It started to not sound like New York no more. And I say all that to say this, Desiigner was a product of that. Okay? What happened with New York, they lost their identity. They started to sound like everybody else, if not worse, because they were out of their element. And you knew that New York guys don't sing like this. They don't rap like this. They don't use auto-tune. So when they started doing it, it became really wonky, and New York really fell off. It became really bad. It was like, yo, I can't tell where I'm at. That's when Fat Joe started making big records because he started to adapt. He was like, yo, I'm gonna move the needle towards where the rest of the country is going at. What no more Ja Rule, this, that, and the third. 50 Cent made sure of that. So now, who do we got to look for? So what we got right now is a Desiigner. I say all that to say this. Desiigner came out with a hard-ass record, but it's still, if you gonna be honest, it's not New York. It's a really hard beat. It's a really hard record, but that record would play anywhere, as it did. The shit blew up after Kanye put it on Life of Pablo. He sampled it, right? No one knew where it came from. It was like, yo, the record was huge when Kanye went and sampled that record. But what happened, a lot of people in New York were starting to imitate other regions, and they started to say New York has no sound. So what Desiigner did when he came out, it was still a hard record. We had New York drill out, and that was what was carrying New York. But at the end of the day, he wasn't spitting like himself. Desiigner is raised in New York City, gang. New York, they rappity rap, even still. In the core of New York, even when I used to go to New York and I used to do shows in New York at the Pyramid, right? I believe, what was it called? End of the Week. The shit ran for 10 years or some shit like that. You would go to New York, you would go to End of the Week. Everybody had to sign up as soon as you get there. Everybody on the list, you get to perform that night. If you sign up too late, you don't get to perform. End of the Week. And a lot of the stars would go to the End of the Week show and pop up. It was one of the most popular open mics in the city, right? And when you went there, they were still rapping. But you couldn't tell if you listened to the radio. You couldn't tell if you went to other regions and you listened for the New Yorkers. If you're like, well, let me hear what New York, they were starting to sound like everybody else. And for a time, now I guess that worked, but it didn't do anything for the mystique of New York. Because a lot of the guys that really still wanted to rap, the Dave East and this, that, and the third, they was catching hell, gang. They really couldn't get out of their own way because the industry had moved on without that rappity rap, all that Wu-Tang shit, this, that, and the third. The industry had moved on. And a lot of our greats, they weren't putting up enough numbers or enough good music to validate even still calling their names out. But, well, with that being said, and I'm going to say this politely, but a little guy named Kendrick kind of put the battery in the back. And I'm going to say, I know a lot of you are going to be like, Kendrick didn't do it. What I'm saying is that battle exposed a lot of stuff that the undercurrent was that rappity rap shit is cooked. If you go back right before that battle and look at all the top 10 shit that was coming out, all the stuff that they were getting away with, all the stuff that was flying, it wasn't no rappity rap. It wasn't no lyrical miracle rap, gang. I'm just gonna be honest. It was a lot of sing song, a lot of first grade, second grade, third grade, red light, green light, go shit that I wasn't jacking, and a lot of other people wasn't jacking. That's why these guys from Griselda were able to come out and build a small underground fan base that turned into a big underground fan base. Remember when Benny the Butcher and Conway and Westside first started buzzing? They were an oddity. They were like, yo, it's these guys out of upstate New York. You got to hear this shit. Right? At one point in time, they would have been average. They would have been average. At one point in time, we wouldn't even have paid attention to that. But they were just that good at a time that was just that bad. So when they came through, at the perfect moment when the shift was about to occur, Griselda put the battery in the back and people started listening to lyrics again. People wanted to go to the Funk Master Flex freestyle. Surprisingly, Flex had an issue. He wasn't jacking. I still don't know what that was about. Flex kind of was cold. He was kind of cold to the Griselda movement. I don't know why they had to kind of like diss Flex, like kind of low key. Everybody dreams of going on Flex and spitting, and Flex, for whatever reason, he's supposed to be the voice of New York. And I think, I'm just gonna be honest, gang, I think he was caught up in that too. He was listening to a lot of stuff with regional, outside of New York ears, so he wasn't even prepared anymore. That's called tapped out. Who was really you're checked out low key. Right, maybe he was a little checked out of what it was supposed to sound like. Maybe it got people, even a lot of it, not me, but a lot of people fell victim to that. They started listening to a lot of garbage for so long. They started to rate people based on the garbage. So you're good in the time of garbage. So maybe he fell a victim to thinking that the garbage was the high bar. That's the low bar. Griselda was putting a high bar up. That was just, you know how somebody just tip of the iceberg. That's when things start to be like, maybe this shit can actually be viable again. Now, that battle, you got to understand what the battle did. It made people listen again. It said, what's he going to say? How's he gonna attack this? Da-da-da. People that haven't heard of real rap in years, they haven't heard of real lyrics in years, we're now listening with open ears, dissecting bars, watching breakdown videos line for line. It got people's noses open again. It got the game wide open again. And therefore, we got open again as a society. For the most part, the mainstream, Kendrick came in, Drake came in. They did it for the culture, no matter how you need to look at it. And they put the culture back on the forefront. Well, guess where we're at now, right? Desiigner had a whole issue. Listen, he had his thing with Kanye West where he wanted to get off the label because they were treating him like trash. Let's just be honest. Kanye didn't use that guy, right? Kanye took that song for himself and promised that kid a record deal. I don't think Kanye had no intentions of working with that kid. Let's just be honest. When he put out all them songs, all them records, he put out Tiana Taylor, Nas, himself, and Pusha T. He gave him all records right in a row. He did 7 songs on each one. He forgot Desiigner was signed to him. He didn't have no idea or plans to put Designer's album out with that little run of albums that's going to come out every week with 7 songs only, right? Never had an idea of putting Desiigner on that, right? Now, all this time, Designer's trying to conform to what Kanye West think is cool. At some point, everybody was trying to do what Kanye was saying was cool. Let's just be honest. Everybody was trying to be the 808s, heartbreaks, half singing, half rappy. All of you guys were trying to do that. So Desiigner was trying to do that too. He was a product of that environment. 808s and heartbreaks, which I, to this day, am not a fan of, but many of you credit it, and it's a fact, you credit it with changing the game. Everybody wanted to sing now. Everybody wanted to have 808s in their music and be like Kanye. So that's what he created, and that's what Desiigner was is a product of. I went the long way around and say Desiigner got into some very risque situations and he apologized. He went online. He had a couple meltdowns about the industry itself, and then poof, he was gone, right? Like, what's that movie? I can't remember the name of the movie where, like, he just vanished, right? Kaiser Sose, right? Da-da-da. Well, your boy vanished into the darkness. Now, what happened with Desiigner, he did what a lot of other New Yorkers had to do. They had to realize, yo, I come from a lineage of real rap, real spitters. And I've been seeing an underground bubbling up of a lot of people all the way to San Francisco. If your algorithm is set like mine on Instagram, a lot of freestylers or a lot of really underground spitters gonna come up in your feed. And I've been seeing for the last 2 years, like, of all colors, mind you, like, they got white girls spitting right now. They got people spitting, young dudes spitting, like, they're bringing it back. Like, what's that group that Razcast son is in? Like, is it Coast Contra? These young kids are picking up the mantle, and they're getting rewarded for it, because what's happening is it's so different now. Like, you got Big Pun's son, right? You got Old Dirty Bastard son. So these guys are spitting again what they were doing 25 years ago. So Desiigner is seeing this happen. He's seeing this battle happen. He's seeing everybody getting back to the lyrics. Let's just be honest. This is only the thing that could have motivated him was the culture starting to champion lyrics, and they're getting away from the fluff, right? This record's #1. They're getting away from the strip club shit. Let's just be honest. A Boogie with the hoodie and all that. They were leaning toward what the industry was telling them you gotta be like. But all that stuff started to change in one swoop after everybody started to break down these songs and do these breakdown videos. Now they want to hear what you're saying. So I say all that to say this. Desiigner reemerged from that darkness, right? Like Bane from Dark Knight. He reemerged from that. You adopted the darkness. I was born in it, right? He came out, he didn't adopt, he was born in it. He came back, and now I'm giving him his props, because with all that I said, full circle, everybody's spitting again, and real rappers back on the table. The Clips just put out one of the best albums of the year, and as that happened, a lot of other spitters been coming out. You've been getting 38 Smash. You got Stove God Cooks. Freddie Gibbs always been around. Y'all been sleeping on Freddie, but now he getting his due. I can sit all night and just name spitters. Evidence, Prof. I can name spitters all night and day. Shay Noir. So now you're getting Spitting is back. No, it ain't on the billboard because it never should have been in the first place. Real rap don't belong there anyway. Anything, 9 times out of 10, the most of the stuff, if you get a bunch of rap on billboard, that means the industry's in control and they pushing out a bunch of fake ass bullshit to make it go pop. I'm just going to be honest. So no, we don't care. We don't care that nothing's on the billboard. It still sell. They're making a really good living right now, spitting real rap. So we're good with what we're getting. So rap is in a great place. And what Desiigner did, he went back in his bag. He went back in that darkness, and he came out on the other side. I'm going to salute Desiigner because just these 2 freestyles alone, especially that Talking with Jesus song, listen, I said all that to say this. This guy is spitting. I'm gonna applaud Desiigner for what he's doing. He's getting back to his roots. He's doing New York proud again. There's a lot of other people coming out doing New York proud if you're looking for them. But Desiigner really kicking that can down the road where he's supposed to be at with New York. We saw some legends come back out. We saw Mobb Deep come back out. We saw LL Cool J come out. And I say LL Cool J, the Force album is the best album LL Cool J has ever done. It is the most hip-hop album he has ever done, right? LL got a lot of good records. He's a huge titan in the industry, but LL has never made a strictly pure hip-hop album that diverse in his entire career. So what we're seeing right now is a lot of legends are allowed to come back out. They just re-released Big L, right? It's crazy right now, the people that's feeling like, I know Will Smith tried, it's not for you, Will, but a lot of people are getting back out into these streets and putting it where it needs to be. So Desiigner has actually elevated back to where he was supposed to be in the first place. When he got in the game, that wasn't popping. I'm going to say Panda got to be, goddamn, I don't know how old Panda is, but it's about 8 years old at least, some shit like that. So they wasn't checking for what he's doing right now, right? Yeah, Young M.A. slid in, da-da-da. But at the end of the day, they wasn't checking for it. You had to have these really flashy hit records. Well, I'm going to say this. That Talking with Jesus is the perfect time for a record like that. He's getting back in his bag. He's soul searching. He's not trying to look for hit records. Right now, he's just spitting. Both of those records, that LOD freestyle, he's spitting. I'm going to salute Desiigner. And what I'm thinking, what we're seeing with all of the positive feedback he's getting, I think we're going to see an edge back to that. I think we're seeing New York is going to start to come back because people only do stuff that's working. So I think New York is going to get itself back right, and I think that Desiigner is going to lead the charge. I'm going to say salute to Desiigner. I respect this. All right? That's all I want to say. Let me know what you think in the comments. Go out and check that Talking with Jesus. Go out and check that LOD freestyle. Salute the Desiigner for getting himself together. We know he had mental issues, and he came back, and in my opinion, I know you don't say, oh, Challz, all he did was drop a freestyle, but they really good freestyles, and they are not pandering. Right? He didn't do it. There's no disrespect to Bobby Shmurda, but he didn't do the Bobby Shmurda and keep going down the path that he was going that wasn't working. Bobby Shmurda could take some notes from this and actually get in his bag. Bobby Shmurda, 30-something years old. So it's time for Bobby Shmurda to just say, okay, I need to define who I am going to be or get out of this business. Because I don't know if we know who Bobby Shmurda is. He could do the same thing and just start showing us that he can rap, and I think we'll accept him as it is if it's good. All right? Let me know what you think in the comments. CLBMG. Head on over to black-yeti.com. Let them know who sent you. Also, every Wednesday night, we go live on the What Show. Me, TJ, and Fliz. I got the Patreon coming, tap in. And also, go down in that merch, man. I got that I'm Just Gonna Be Honest merch. I got the What Show merch, man. Tap in, support the channel. I'm gonna catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine. Elevate your mind with high quality THC infused products. BlackYeti.com. Black-Yeti.com.
CLB.
Get my coat, get my sheepskin, grab my wallet, get my pocket knife, and get that hat right there. We out. Grab my pocket knife too. Let's go. When I first came to the city, niggas didn't believe me. I just wanted to join a team and throw assist pass easily. 6 man off the bench, alley-oop pass freely. Suit up for one game and hope a scout might see me. But nah, niggas is greedy, wasn't rocking with him. Unplugged the scoreboard, put a lock on the gym. Told me to power forward, point guard at the rim. And left me with no center and a ball full of phlegm. Not knowing that I'm a dog, a Rottweiler within, with the heart of a pit bull that don't bark for pretend. My bites cut deep, break the bone and the skin, with the level of hustlenomics you do not comprehend. So first I took a block down on the west side end, and then secured a spot with some goons and some kin, and then sent out some flyers, let the games begin. And in 6 months time, the city like that's him. Oh yeah, he the one that moved the hustle to the burbs. And yeah, he the one that knocked the hustlers off the curb. And yeah, he the one that set up shop without a word. And he the one that got it cracking, and all he did was rapping by the Hooters. I kept killers from being shooters. Put a mic in a thug's hand, now he loyal like past fans. Take a man off the streets past the needles and crack cans. Promise mama to keep him safe, then put some food in his face, and he'll kill for you. But I don't need him for that. Click like, click share, tell them bitches we back. Share the whole location, tell them niggas where we at. Cause we out here and we ain't the cheese, we the trap.